Rev up your engine! Here's a Subaru Outback, and I'm going to show you how indestructible these things can be. Now the front got all smashed in, he had to replace the headlamps. Then he pulled stuff out. You can see he didn't bother to paint it. But on the other hand, he only spent $160 fixing it. Well, it cost many thousands to fix the new Highlander. Sometimes older is better. Now, he bought it 4 years ago for $3,000 with 156,000 miles. Let's see what it has on today. 243,000 miles. Well, so far, he's definitely got his $3,000 worth out of it. These Outbacks are pretty solid built. All that mileage starts right up. And yes, this is a Subaru Outback. He did not put a racing exhaust on it. There's a little bit of a hole in the exhaust, but who really cares? It's not shaking at all. I mean, really, look at the back. He's living in this thing. Yeah, it's getting cold, so he's got some nice blankets here. But there's plenty of room. And in this case, you can call it a moon roof if you want, because you can look at the moon. Notice, he has a nice mesh, so the mosquitoes won't get him. Now, as you look under the hood, I am not a fan of Subaru 6-cylinder engines, except for these old ones. This is an 04. See, it's not shaking. It's hardly making any noise at all from valve clatter. Realize that back in the day, they made the 6-cylinder engines better. The modern ones have all kinds of problems. I got a customer with one of these, with this 6. When he got 50,000 miles, that engine started clacking like mad. It was kind of a design flaw. Subaru said they're going to put valve springs and fix them, blah, blah, blah. You never want to get an engine that needs that kind of work in the first place. The older ones are better made than the new ones by far. I would only look at the 4-cylinder ones. I would not even think about the 6s for that reason. Plus, the head gasket problems that Subarus used to have in the 4-cylinders are long gone. That was over a decade and a half ago. They fixed that, so you don't get blowing head gaskets in the 4s like you used to. One of the reasons they're called Outback is because they're good in the Outback. They're all-wheel drive. Not just front-wheel drive, it's all-wheel drive, and it's a good system. If you do want all-wheel drive, Subaru was really the king of all-wheel drive. They were the first ones to really make mass-produced all-wheel drive cars, and they have it down pat. Originally, these were kind of niche cars. Guys in Colorado get them, guys in Montana would get them. People that went skiing liked them because they were good in the snow. People who lived out in the country and mud, they liked them. They were kind of a niche car. Now, of course, they make a lot more cars than they used to. But the reason they're all-wheel drive is because that's their technology, and they want a car that can go anywhere. And the people that buy them, they're generally pretty satisfied with them, as long as they realize the limitations. Don't treat them like race cars. Originally, of course, the boxer engines were for cars to race around. Now, the WRX is notwithstanding. Subarus are conventional, little nice cars that get you around like this. It's a very handy station wagon. Hardly anybody makes station wagons anymore. They made their big mistakes turbocharging them, putting bigger engines that were made cheaper, that had problems, overstressing the transmission. You get an older one like this that's made it this far, it can be a fun car to get you where you're going, and as you can see, it's pretty indestructible. Now, technically, this one was totaled, but $160 later, he's back on the road. And as I said earlier, you talk about room. This is why people had station wagons. Now, when I was young, they'd pop in a station wagon with blankets, pillows, and watch the drive-in movies. Yes, I even saw the other day, I was outside of Norton, Massachusetts, and they still have a drive-in there. It brings me back to my childhood days. Not like you're cramped in either. That's full-size bed. 2 people can easily sleep there. It's not, oh, you're cramming in a tiny little thing. The seats are popped up, you get more room. He even made it to Rose's Cantina in El Paso. As you can see, the Subaru's been around. Maine, South Dakota, Yellowstone, Mammoth Cave. I just went there the other day. Big Bend, Lookout Mountain. You saw the Joshua Tree. Shenandoah, all over the place. Death Valley. He really went Outback in his Outback. $3,000 investment. I said the guy's getting his money's worth. Close the hood, take it for a spin. Okay, now this thing is old. Here's the bumpy road. And guess what? It's not all that bad. Now, you can hear creaks and groans on any old car, but this thing does not ride bad on the giant bumps, after all. It's a station wagon. It's got a large wheelbase. That's one of the reasons they made station wagons. They didn't ride that bad because they had a big wheelbase. So let's see what this old baby can do. Hey! It still moves. Look at that. Yeah, well, they put more power in the 6s. There's no arguing that. It still handles pretty good. There are no slouches. Well, if the owner wasn't riding with me, I'd take it to this big clump of dirt and see how high it could go in all-wheel drive, but maybe we'll do that another time. So let's get the scan tool out and see what this thing is like internally. There we go. We'll do an intelligent diagnosis. And here we go. I'm curious for one thing, because when he did whack it, the airbags didn't go off. So I better not say that the airbag system works, because they don't work anymore. And that's just a general advice for anybody. Don't expect an old car like this to have airbags that operate. I see many old cars do not operate. Use your seatbelts when you're driving if you got an old car. You can't trust an airbag system on an old car. In this case, none of them went off. He's happy because it would have ripped his dash apart and steering column would have come out. It didn't do anything. And lo and behold, everything else works fine. Just out of curiosity, let's see what's going on here. Well, the ABS sensor is not working right. High detection. And down here, there's something in Chinese. Or Japanese, I don't know. I don't read either, so I won't care about that. The airbag system and the anti-lock brake system, they work together. And if the anti-lock brake system goes out, it'll often make the airbag system not work correctly. Didn't work. He had his belts on. He's still here. He didn't have any holes in his head, so the seatbelt saved him. Let's see what kind of information we get out of this thing. We'll go to the computer system, start it up. Let's check out things here. Things blue so far, which is good. And check it out, the air fuel sensor. It's almost perfect. 1.00.99. Hey, if you had 243,000 miles on you and you ran almost perfect, I know myself, I feel like I'm operating at about 50% efficiency lately. I wouldn't mind 99%, yeah? The engine's in good shape. Check the ignition timing. Look. 9.0 and 9.5. It's very stable. It's not bouncing all over the place. It's still in good shape. It's an old car, but it's still running good. Back in the day, Fuji Heavy Industries made a pretty good vehicle. They sell a lot of these Outbacks for good reasons. Let's not put down the boys in Indiana. All right, this baby was made in the USA in Indiana. Interestingly enough, by Subaru, Isuzu Automotive. Of course, the engines and transmissions, they came from Japan and they were assembled in the United States. But good job putting together. This thing smashed into the brand new Toyota. It's still going strong. So now you know the truth about the Subaru that ate a Toyota and lived to tell the tale. Sometimes truth is stranger than fiction. And the owner, hey, he's happy he came to visit me last time, but then wrecked the car because they totaled it. He was covered. He got $3,500. He spent $160 of it fixing it, and he's driving it around. Hey, he made money on the deal. So hey, sometimes good things come out of bad things. And here's some bonus questions and answers. Pablo Escobar says, Scotty, I got a Honda CR-V 07. Bought it, used it as green coolant. I haven't flushed it. It seems okay. I've been using Xerox G05 Green 50/50 coolant to top it off. What do you think I should do? That Xerox G05 Green is perfectly fine. It's made for modern cars. Now, the thing is, color means nothing these days. Understand that if they just made the stuff, it wouldn't have any color at all. That's all dye. They dye it different colors. Some people dye them orange, some people dye red, some people dye green. Back in the day, they were all dyed green, and that was the old-fashioned inorganic acid technology, IAT. All the modern cars use organic acid technology coolant, OAT, which are the long life ones that last longer. And they do less damage to your car. They have better corrosion resistance, especially for aluminum engines. That's what they're made for. Most engines are aluminum now, right? That's a perfectly good one. The color means nothing these days. It's just a dye that's put in. What you want is the bottle, and you read it's a modern one for the modern cars. Now, a lot of times it will not say organic acid technology, OAT, even though it is. You can do a little research on the one you're buying to say, is it an organic acid technology? But all the ones that say for modern cars will work perfectly fine. Some of them are even fancier, like Toyota. They use a HOT, which is a hybrid organic acid technology. Now, you can put the organic acid technology in them. Doesn't bother. It doesn't last quite as long as the HOT. The HOTs, some of those can go 175,000 miles, 7 years or more, and they won't break down till then. So that's the best. But the regular organic acid ones, that most of them I work perfectly fine. And that Xerox works perfectly fine for you too. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.